Alright guys, so we're doing our quiz review. This is for 7-3 and 7-5. It's all over adding and subtracting fractions, and I'm going to go through some different things you might see on the quiz, okay? So first it says, what is the sum of 1/5 and 3/4? So first thing we're going to need to do is, we got to figure out what sum means. This right here is going to tell us whether we're going to add or subtract. We need to know if it means add or subtract. Well, when it says sum, it means to add. Very important. So now we're going to go ahead and set up our fractions. Our 1/5 and our 3/4. And the first thing we should notice is that, oh man, our denominators are not the same. If we ever want to add or subtract fractions, our denominators have to be the same. But this time we have a 5 and a 4. Not good. So we need to go ahead and figure out what our lowest common denominator between 5 and 4 is going to be. Let's say I have no clue what it is at all in the whole wide world, no idea. If I have no idea, I need to write down my two denominators, which is 5 and 4, and then I need to count and see what my multiples are. I need to write down all my multiples and then match them up, okay? That's what you can do if you have no idea. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. I'm going to stop there. I do about 5-ish numbers, and I stop. And if I do 5-ish of this one and 5-ish of this one, and I still don't have a match, I'll keep going. But I don't want to write a ton of numbers and then waste my time trying to find it, and I already wrote it a long time ago. Then 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. 20, I said 20 earlier. 20 is one of my matches. So if I see 20 and 20, that means that 20 is my lowest common denominator. So I'm going to write in 20 for both. The next step is very important. You got to ask yourself, 5 times what gave me this 20? 5 times 4. 4 times what gave me this 20? 4 times 5. Whatever you do to the bottom of a fraction, you have to do the top. It's kind of like keeping things fair and even, okay? So then I'm going to figure out my new numerators. 4 times 1 is 4. 5 times 3 is 15. Now, I'm all set up. I'm ready to go. I can add now because both denominators are the same. And when I'm adding fractions, I only add my two numerators. So then I'm going to ask myself, what's 4 plus 15? That's 19. And then my denominators always stay the same, which is 20. Then the last question I ask is, can 9 over 20 be simplified? Can any number go into both of them evenly other than a 1? Nope. So that means that 19 over 20 is my best possible answer. All right, let's work on our next problem. On the next problem, we have a word problem, and I'm going to read that out loud. A piece of glass is 1/4 an inch thick, and a second piece of glass is 7 over 16 inches thick. What is the combined thickness of the two pieces? Well, the word combined is telling me I need to add these two fractions, but I'm looking at my fractions and my denominators are different. I have a 4 and I have a 16. This is telling me I need to fix it up. So I need to find new denominators. I gotta find my lowest common denominator between 4 and 16. Again, let's pretend I have no clue at all what my lowest common denominator would be. That's fine. I don't waste my time thinking too much. I write my 4 and I write my 16, and I'm gonna go ahead and write my multiples out. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. Did you see that? 16 and 16. This tells me that my lowest common denominator is 16. I'm going to plug it in. Now, I have to ask myself some questions. 4 times what gave me this 16? 4 times 4. 16 times what gave me this 16? 1. Whatever I multiply the bottom by, I got to multiply the top by. I got to keep it even. 4 times 1 is going to make my new numerator 4. 1 times 7 is 7. My new numerator is 7. Now I'm ready to go. When I add fractions, I'm only adding my top 2 numbers. I'm going to add my 7 and my 4. All right? 7 plus 4 is then going to give me 11, and my denominator is going to stay the same. Last thing I asked myself, can 11 over 16 be simplified? Well, no, it cannot be simplified, so my answer is going to be 11 over 16 inch, because we're talking about the thickness of glass in this question. All right, next one. The next one, 2/3 minus 5 over 8. When I want to add and subtract fractions, my denominators must be the same. I have a 3 and I have an 8. Well, this isn't going to work. I need to figure out what my new denominators are going to be. I'm going to set up my fraction bar, bring down my subtraction sign, set up my other fraction bar. Let's say I have no idea what the multiple between 8 and 3 is going to be, okay? That means I need to figure out my lowest, well, I don't know what my lowest common denominator is going to be. That means I just need to write out my multiples. I'm not going to think about it for too long because I want to make sure I'm actively finding answers the whole entire time. I would write 3, I'd write 18, and I would count by them. 3 and 8. So 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27. Then I'd count by 8s. 8. Then I'm going to have 16, 24. 24, that was one of my 3s over here. They match. That means my new least common denominator is going to be 24. I'm going to write 24 on both sides. Now, I got to ask myself some questions. 3 times what gave me that 24? Well, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 3 times 8. And 8 times what gave me this 24? Well, 8 times 3. Whatever I do to the bottom of the fraction, I must do the top of the fraction. I got to make sure it's even always. I ask myself, what's 8 times 2? My new numerator is 16. Then I ask myself, what's 3 times 5? And my new numerator is 15. Now I'm set up, I'm ready to subtract. When I'm subtracting fractions, I'm only actually subtracting the numerators, which this case is 16 minus 15. That would equal 1, and my denominators always stay the same number. Last question I ask is, can 1 over 24 be simplified? Well, there's no numbers that can go into both evenly other than a 1, so that means this is in its most simplest form. All right, next problem. All right, so for the next one, we're going to have a word problem. The picnic area in a park is on the trail that connects the parking lot with the lake. The picnic area is 2/5 mile from the parking lot and 1/3 mile from the lake. How long is the trail? So they want to know how long the trail is and all parts of the trail. They're telling us 2 pieces of the trail. This means we're going to have to add. The problem here is that my denominators don't match. I see a 5 and a 3. I need to set up my 2 new fractions, bring down my plus sign. I gotta ask myself, what's the lowest common denominator between 5 and 3? Let's say I have no clue. I'll write my 5, I'll write my 3, and I'm going to count by both. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Count by 3s. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21. Oh, I almost missed it. Look right here. My 15s match. That means that 15 is my lowest common denominator. So I'm going to plug in my 15 here and my 15 here. Next, I got to ask myself how I got there. 5 times what gave me this 15? 5 times 3. 3 times what gave me this 15? 3 times 5. Whatever I do to the whatever I do to the bottom, I have to do the top. I got to keep it fair. 3 times 2 is 6. 5 times 1 is 5. Now I have to solve my equation. When I add fractions, I'm really only adding the numerators. And in this case is 6 and 5. 6 plus 5 would give me 11, and my denominator is going to stay as a 15. Last question I ask is, could this be simplified? Well, it cannot be simplified. There's no number other than 1 that can go into both. So 11 over 15 is my best possible answer. All right, let's move to the next. Next one says, find 2 over 3 plus 4/12. First step, I see my denominators are not the same. I got a 3, I got a 12. I need to set up my new fraction bars, bring down my plus sign, and I'm ready to go. Let's say I don't know what my multiples are. Let's say I don't know what my least common denominator would be. That means I need to write down my multiples. So I'm going to write my 3, and I'm going to write my 12, and I'm going to count. 3, 6, 9, 12, 12. Oh my, that's one of the other numbers. That means that my lowest common denominator right here is 12. I didn't even have to list them all out. That's awesome. So 12 is the new denominator, and I got to ask myself, 3 times what gave me that 12? 3 times 4. 12 times what kept my 12? Be a 1. Whatever you do to the bottom, you must do the top. So since I multiplied my denominator by 4, I got to multiply the numerator by 4. 4 times 2 is 8. Since over here I multiplied my denominator by 1, I got to multiply my numerator by 1. 4 times 1 is 4. Now, I'm ready to go ahead and solve. Well, when I'm adding fractions, I only add the numerators, which is 8 and 4. 8 plus 4 is then going to give me 12. Then my denominator stays the same, which is 12. I have 12 over 12 now. I got to ask myself, can this be simplified? Well, yes, it could be simplified. Some of you may already know that the same number on top of the same number automatically means 1 whole. If you didn't, you could still figure it out, because you know that 12 can go into 12 one time. There's no remaining anything. It's just 1 whole. So this could be simplified to 1 whole. All right? Next, if you're watching this video, I want you to keep watching. I have something special for the kids that are going to watch all the way to the end. And I would like you to do this problem on a piece of paper and turn it in to me so that I know that you watched this video all the way to the end. So I would like you to do this problem. 1/7 plus 3 over 4 3/4. This is the equation I'd like you to do. I need you to show all of your work just like I did in the video, find your final answer, and then see if it would need to be simplified or not, and then hand it back to me. These are going to be due on Tuesday morning. So Tuesday morning is the latest you can hand this paper in to me, okay? Thanks, guys.